Welcome to Talk Tennis. Today, we have one of our Team T-Dub sponsored players, Jamie Loeb. How's it going?
Good. Happy to be here. Happy to talk about all the tennis things.
All the things. I was going to say, maybe we should start with like a year in review with Jamie Loeb. Talk to us. What happened this year? I can't believe the year's ending, basically.
Yeah. I mean, definitely, I would say my most difficult year. Started off pretty well. Had a decent-ish like clay season, and then kind of the summer onwards have been really challenging for me. I lost my dad over the summer, took a break from tennis, still on a break and planning to get back on tour in January, but there's just been a lot of pauses and losses and a lot of time for reflection, which I have never experienced before. Normally, it's just go, 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 push, push, push. So I've really had to slow down and just kind of heal myself inside and out, which has been hard. And especially living life in the fast lane, traveling to tournaments and practice and disrupting that schedule a bit in ways has been really nice because I've just been pretty much in the same place doing different things. But yeah, it's been a very challenging year, and I'm looking forward to kind of this new start next year and kind of see where things take me. But yeah, I'm starting to gear up for that.
Nice. And if you don't mind speaking further about your dad and your relationship with your dad and how big of a role he played in your life, and even, I mean, we can get all emo about it.
Yeah.
It's okay. Tears are allowed on Talk Tennis. But even, I'm sure realizing that there's so much to life outside of the tennis court going through something like that. So.
Yeah, and this is actually the first time I'm going to be like talking on camera about my dad too. So we'll see how I hold up. But my dad, he was the rock of our family, and one of my biggest supporters of my career. He sacrificed so much. A lot of ways very similar to him. Like he had his own business. He was in the meat industry, entrepreneur. Worked so hard to provide for our family, to let me live out my dream. I always loved when he watched me play. He would come locally because he was always working and couldn't travel from a distance. My mom did a lot of that growing up with me, but whenever he could and come to the US Open, I always would look at him because he always provided this support, so positive, so calm, reassuring. And, he was just kind of like the glue for me and that person I can always go to and, not feel judged. And, he was a man of few words, but the words that he did speak were very important and wise, and, has helped me a lot through my life. He was struggling for quite some time. He had Parkinson's. He was only 72 when he passed, and the past year, there was a massive decline. He got a bunch of infections, and he is the strongest person that I know, and I believe, I've developed my toughness and strength, on and off the court from him. It's in my DNA, and I always looked up to him, how hard he worked for the family, how passionate he was for his business. And that's, translated to my passion with tennis and always wanting to, make him proud. And I know how proud he is of me, but it's just been really hard processing, losing someone you love so much, and in ways see them struggle so much but fight so hard, and to the very end, which was admirable. But I really hope he's looking down and proud of me right now. And I miss him so much. He is everything to me, so it puts a lot of things in perspective and what's important. And part of me restarting and coming back next year is finding like a new sense of purpose and a new motivation. Obviously I want it for myself, but I really want to give it a really good shot for him too, and just let it happen and leave it all out there, and at least say, I've done everything now with this like new, I guess, strength and perspective.
Oh, that's amazing. And of course he's going to be with you always, watching you always and cheering you on always. That's really touching, and I'm so sorry that he's no longer with us, but I just know you're going to show up in such a new, strong way on the court and off the court. And that was so well said.
Thank you.
Yeah. So have you noticed that? Have you noticed a shift in, like, even just right now? You said you're about to go after this, you're going to go to the training session. Have you noticed a difference emotionally, and like, has that already shifted for you? Is it?
I think so. I think also too, instead of always like pushing, forcing it, I'm like, you know what? There's some days where I really feel like I can go all out, and some days I need to take a step back. And, I'm still processing a lot and grieving, and kind of, I'm back in New York. I'm currently living with my mom. So it's just like, showing up for my family, and also taking the time for myself. So it's been a different type of training. I feel more on my own terms, and I'm less on a time frame. I've had so much time since June to really reflect and kind of gradually go back into, playing for myself. I've done a little bit of coaching. I didn't know if I wanted to come back, to be honest. It wasn't until like I went to US Open and I was like, I'm going to see if I really miss it.
Yeah.
And I did. And it was weird for me going to the Open and not playing, and running into people, asking me how I'm doing, asking, what I'm up to. And it's very overwhelming, but it made me realize that I really want to give myself another shot. And I would love to be back at the Open playing. That is a huge goal of mine.
Nice.
But I've also accepted that if that doesn't happen, it's okay. And I've done that. I've been there. But this new kind of like chapter comeback is just like for me to go after and see how far I can take it without the expectation, and just letting myself be. So that's kind of what I've been doing, just listening to myself, on a mental, emotional, physical level, and just, letting it all play out.
Nice.
And not forcing anything.
Nice. So a lot of times our listeners really want to hear kind of more behind the scenes of what it's like to be on the pro tour. And since well, one of the trending topics on the pro tour right now is scheduling, and how crazy every week you're playing, you're traveling, you're playing, you're traveling, you're playing, you're traveling. You don't have time to do literally anything, let alone rehab injuries, try new rackets, try a new coach, all these things. So you have this moment in time where you're not on the grind. What does training and tennis look like at this moment, knowing that we're recording this basically at the beginning of November? And what is going to be your first tournament for 2026?
Yeah, the schedule is pretty brutal, and that's why you see a lot of injuries towards the end of the year, and people, burning out, retirements. It's hard. It's hard to keep up with. And this is the first time I've chosen to actually take in a break that's not physical injury related. Like I was dealing with some small injuries throughout the year, so I've been able to kind of rehab that, and then more on the mental standpoint, just kind of breathe. Like a lot of times you feel suffocated of like, oh my God, like I have these points to defend, or how am I going to get to the next tournament? Do I really want to play the next tournament? Do I just see what happens? And like you said, to try things, to try a new coach, to try a different equipment, because you just don't have the time throughout the year. And if I were to have played a full calendar year, I still would have had maybe 4 to 5 weeks of quote unquote off season, preseason. And that's just not enough time to build a relationship with someone, or to just try things. So like this time has just been nice, where it's just, like I said, just step by step process. And my goal is to start in January. I'm still waiting for the complete schedule, so I don't know where. But I also know I'm going to have to really work my way back up. I'm going to have to start on the lower level, ITFs again, but that's what I'm willing to do, to give myself a chance. And it's humbling, but there's no shortcuts. I've actually worked with some like younger girls and parents, and everyone wants this magic pill. And I'm like, there's no magic pill. It's just hard work and just putting yourself out there. So not sure exactly what date or where in the world I'm going to be just yet. But January is the plan.
And then when you go out there this time around, are you going solo? Do you have a coach, a hitting partner? How are you traveling?
So most of my career, the last 3 to 4 years, I've traveled a lot by myself. And it's hard. It is very hard, but it's just so financially expensive, not only for myself, but to bring someone else. It's just like people don't realize how expensive it is. And when you don't have that money, the backing, the sponsors, you're not making money at these tournaments to really fund that. So I'm going to see. I'm training right now in New York, and it's been great. And kind of I found like a little bit of a team here. I was training in Virginia for a bit and then North Carolina. So I've been in a few places. But right now, I've also listened to myself that I want to feel closer to my family. I want to be closer physically and just have that support, be in a place that I'm so comfortable in. And, I know people and just feel this sense of like I know my surroundings. Because that's what I need. And part of this process too, I've really had to reflect on where I see myself and where I'm going to be the happiest, or closest to happiest, because my days are, it's up and down. So I wanted to be near my family, and it's been working out well, and I have been very motivated. And I think throughout the course of a year, when you're playing week after week, the motivation varies a lot. So I wanted to make sure that like I was really wanting to do this before I even stepped back into it.
Nice. Now, not to bring up age, but I've been having this conversation with some of our team teed up. I think you're 30 now.
I am.
Okay, yay. 30s are amazing, so that's good. But a lot of players are having that conversation with themselves. Do I go only singles? Am I going to be a doubles specialist? Do I try both? What's your strategy right now?
I've thought about it all. Even the past like few years, there's been years where like I've done really well in doubles. I got to like 117 2 years ago, just playing ITFs in doubles, and I was like, oh, do I just play doubles? But I really want to give it one more go in singles. And for me, doubles, I love it, but it's tough. And it's tough finding the same person to play with and trusting that they're not going to ditch you and making sure you get in. It's like I feel like there's a lot more unknowns than singles, and just it's at this point in my life and career, I don't know if I can handle that. So I think right now I'm going to focus on singles and see where that takes me. Play some doubles, but only with people that like I enjoy playing with and I feel we have a good chance, instead of just random people each week just to, see how we do or make some extra money. Like I want to be very intentional. And throughout my career, I've thought about singles, doubles, both. It is very hard to be successful in both. I mean, there's players on tour that are, and I give them so much credit because it's also just very demanding. I'm 30, I'm not 20 anymore, just paying more attention to my body and what it needs. So right now, I think I'm going to focus a little bit more on getting my singles ranking up again and then play doubles when I really want to.
Nice. That makes sense. For anyone that's never watched you compete, what kind of tennis do you play? What's your style? Give your signature. And has it shifted at all? Do you think there's been any shift in your game from your 20s or even from college tennis to now?
Yeah, I would say I'm an aggressive baseliner, but also I have like an all-court game. I mean, I have great hands. Honestly, my overhead is probably my favorite shot, which is my hot take.
I love it.
I love my overhead, just finding my way to the net. I'm feisty. I'm intense out there. Like I'm vocal. I wear my signature sunglasses. I was wearing Oakley's for quite some time, but now I'm wearing Raya eyewear. So made that switch. So that's been a nice switch and change up for me. Aggressive. I fight hard, compete hard, and I think I actually I feel like my game has pretty much stayed the same for a bit. I think in juniors in college, I was able to overpower players more, play a little bit quicker, but now everybody, physically is a lot stronger. and hits the ball hard and clean and deep. So the game has also evolved. So I'm not going to really overpower too many people, but it's just being smart and making good decisions. Recently, I changed my serve after 10 years.
Really?
And that I did during this time off. I just one day I was just going out there hitting some serves, helping a girl out, and I was like, let me play around with this. And I used to be platform, which is having 2 feet on the ground and not bringing that back foot up when you serve. And now I'm switching back to pinpoint where I'm bringing that back leg up, just to kind of get a little bit more explosiveness. I mean, I feel good physically and feel still sharp, but the body's a little bit different 30 from 20, and I need a little bit more explosiveness and then getting up to the ball. So I made that decision and working with a coach here to kind of fine tune that. And I tell people it's never too late to change things, and that is a big change, but I think it's the right one.
Yeah, and actually we've seen a little bit on tour with some of the top players. Like, I know there's been talks about Coco making little changes here and there, so that's awesome. That's cool. And even to like have the bandwidth to be like, okay, I can improve here, and that's amazing. Also, for anyone that has never watched Jamie play, I'm not just saying this, but there is like an intensity
yes.
that surrounds the court she's on. Whenever she's on the court, like you can feel the fire and like the signature sunglasses. It's just like, yeah, she's here. She's business.
Yes, all strictly business. And the sunglasses, people come up to me and they're like, oh my God, like I thought you were so mean and so intimidating. I was like, oh, I mean, I guess that's good.
Yeah,
but
yeah, take it.
I hope, like, I don't think I'm mean, but mean on the tennis court.
Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say you are really a competitor, but super amazing off court too. You brought up the word hot take, and I actually I would love the audience to like weigh in, but I would like to do a segment, not this podcast, but another segment where we bring Jamie on and she can give us hot takes from Pro Tour. But there are a couple that have come up recently, and I've been sharing it with the office. So if you want to talk a little bit about some hot takes on tour, specifically, like there's some exhibition things happening with the men. It's not really so much on the women's side, I don't think, not yet. And I really liked your hot take on I can't even remember what it was called.
Was it the Six King Slam?
The Six King Slam.
Yeah.
So if you're interested in sharing, you're more than welcome. The stage is yours, but if not, that's fine too.
Oh no, I will. I already put it out on Instagram and maybe Twitter, as we call it. So basically the Six King Slam, $6 million for the winner. What is it? Was it eight guys?
You know what? I'm going to be completely honest with you. I didn't even pay attention.
Okay. Well, I didn't pay attention either. I was just so like starstruck by the money.
And like it was on Netflix and I was like, I've got other things to watch.
Yeah. I'm like, there's other shows I'd rather watch right now than this. So just to show up was $1.5 million. And then the winner got $6 million. So I went on social media. I was like, look, this is ridiculous. Put that money, and why don't you make it where it's a draw of players 150 to 500, like that are hungry, that like this money is life changing. This can really change their trajectory of their career within a year, giving them all the resources they need and see how far they can take it. And then it becomes a story where, you see the players that play in this tournament and then whoever wins it and like follow their career the next like year or two and see who makes it and see how that money makes a difference.
Absolutely.
And I feel like that money should be going towards that then. The like Alcaraz and Sinner, like they don't need that. And they play so many exhibitions too throughout the year on top of the already demanding schedule. So like, give it to players that really would be fighting for this money. And it doesn't even have to be that large of a pool, but like I just feel that should be allocated in a better way. And the tennis would still be great. Mm-hmm. And you would get to actually know the players a bit more, kind of like hear about their story, a little bit what we're doing, just like understanding the player and their story. And I think that's a great idea. I would pitch that to Netflix, and you know what? I love to watch it. I love to play in it, but I just think it would be a different level of like hunger. Cause I mean, I don't know. I think it was like Zverev lost in like 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Like these guys are just showing up.
Collecting a
If
paycheck.
you have a bunch of players like lower ranked doing this, I mean, everyone would be going out like guns blazing, like wanting every dollar.
Yeah. Well, and we have our little 60K here in Templeton, California every September. And I always try to talk about it because, first of all, 60K is a decent tournament. But, like, people that are watching something like this on Netflix have no clue what the level's like. They have no clue what, what housing looks like, what, just everything from that perspective. And every year it's so cool because I learn something new about a new player, or there's someone new on my radar and I'm like, who's that? How come I don't know who she is? And like, it's so fun to watch. And like the trajectory of people who have played in that tournament, won that tournament, they're all like, everyone's going on. Like Taylor Townsend was there 2 years ago.
I think that's what I played her.
Okay, yeah. I was like, and now look at her. I mean, I remember Shelby Rogers was there back in the day. And it's like, it's always fun to go to because you see like the list of champions. And I'm like, she played Templeton and now she's playing US Open or whatnot. So I agree. There's definitely so many stories. And who was it in the men's tournament a couple weeks ago? The two cousins.
Oh my God, yes. Like Rinder Kanash.
Yeah, Rinder Kanash. And
I like don't want to butcher their names, but yes. And then they just played this past week. They played in the second round again. And that story, that was so cool. And also for me, like I can relate to that. And like, just and like giving yourself a chance, anything can happen. The level is there. It's just a matter of time. A little bit of luck too to like kickstart you, and then like see where things take you. And I that like warms my heart. I'm like, this is what it's about. And like so happy for him, and I think that's just incredible and so well deserved. But like it can happen to anyone, and that's what happens if you just like follow more. And also want to clarify the 60K for people that don't know, the winner doesn't get 60K.
No, that's split amongst everyone.
Yeah, I think for 60 the winner could be wrong, but maybe 8,000.
I think you're right. Yeah.
Which is like a lot for the winner.
Yeah.
But like there's only one winner and then it's split up amongst the rest. So there's a huge gap between the prize money of like the top and the bottom. But yeah, I just wanted to clarify for all the people listening that we're not just making 60K just in 1 week.
And even the girls were saying this year, I guess the ITF WTA approved now that, because it's a 60K but it's called a W75, I think.
Also, yeah, because it's 75 points for the winner. It's also tennis is so confusing. The labels, the names, the points, the ranking. It's so confusing. Sense.
Well, they were saying that now, because before this wasn't the case, but now this year that house or hotel is included in a W75, which previously...
Starting on Monday. So starting Monday, the day before main draw, and only for main draw. If you don't qualify, you don't get the free hospitality. So...
It's a grind.
Which, yeah.
I was talking to Amina Bektis, and it resonates what you're talking about, being lonely sometimes when you're out there, because she's in the same boat right now. She's traveling by herself, and she was kind of like, well, I'm going to drive down to LA, stay with a friend, and then I'll go to Orange County, play the next tournament. I think I'm going to play doubles because I promised so-and-so, and it was fun in this, it's just like, It's a tough life, man. What about this 1 point tournament in Australia? Have you heard about this? Are you playing it?
I did.
Let's go.
I also, I think, put it on my Instagram story as well. I mean, I think it's a cool idea, but once again, I think it's like $1 million. I forgot the draw. They did it last year. I don't remember what the prize money was.
Yeah.
I think one of my friends, was it Lizette that made the finals of it? But there was like, it's open, men, women, like certain pro players, and then just like random tennis fanatics, and anything can happen.
Anything can happen.
Let cord return winner, and boom, you move on. Cool concept. I don't know if I agree with the $1 million. but I do like it's something on the line, something different, kind of merges the two worlds of the fan to the pro and like, being able to do that. I mean, once again, I would love to be a part of it. You don't know. Like, it depends if you're lucky that day.
Yeah, for sure. And what about the US Open and what they did with mixed doubles this year? What are your thoughts on that?
So I think the event was great. I don't think it should have been a substitute for the actual mixed doubles tournament. And, I think it was great that the doubles players, Rani and Vasavori, I think it's how you pronounce the name, maybe, won. And I know, like, the doubles players were pretty happy about that. I think they should keep the event, but bring back the regular mixed doubles. Maybe make that for singles players, and you have this, like, star-studded, like, 2-day sets to 4, like, exhibition. Do that. And maybe it's a separate prize money, but then keep the mixed doubles, and just not make it so selective, too, of who gets to be in it. And don't call it a grand slam when you're playing sets to 4. That is an exhibition. I know the finals, I think, was, like, 2 out of 3. But you just, like, that's silly.
Yeah, and I mean, it's crazy because, like you said, yes, the mixed doubles team won, or like the doubles specialist won, but there were so many doubles specialists that weren't included in the lineup, which, again, I think if people had an opportunity to see some of these players compete and like learned a little bit about their history and their vibe and everything, they're going to be new favorites amongst tons of fans. And we keep talking about like what's going on with doubles. We'll give the people a chance to learn more about these players.
And also you have to think just the population of people around the world, like majority of like an older population, they're playing doubles. A lot of times playing doubles. And they always want to learn about strategy and, how to play. And like, I think, and bringing more light to that would be great. And, obviously singles players, super talented and can put them on a doubles court and it's still phenomenal. But just like the little like nuances and just formations and even chemistry of these players that play a lot with each other for the normal person to pick up and watch that and follow that, I think is really cool and, should definitely be brought more to light, I would say.
Yeah, I would agree. Okay, we're going to transition out of hot takes, but we can keep hot taking it into gear and what you're working with. And you had a chance to try some different shoes this year. And one of the shoes that you did get to try, it's kind of controversial. And I'm okay saying that. I'll just bring it up right now. First of all, you were a Fila athlete, so you were wearing Fila shoes. Mm-hmm. And then you were looking for a new shoe. And I know you tried the Asics Gel Res X. And our playtest team, the women, really struggled with that shoe. It took us like about a month for it to break in. No joke, like a month. And then it's like you talk to Kat Harrison and she's like, I love these shoes.
And I talked to her as well and I was like, what do you love about these?
So what's your perspective on the Gel Res X? And then we can talk about what shoe you landed on.
Yeah, so I was with Fila for 8 years, like had such a great relationship with them. And then once that kind of ended, I was looking for a new shoe to wear and started off with a Gel Res before Gel Res 9, which I liked. But then I noticed in certain colors, they felt different.
Yeah,
and
I've heard
that. There's certain colors. So I felt there was one color that actually ended up being too snug around like the pinky toes.
Crazy.
It was like weird because I wasn't having issues with that before. Then those got discontinued. And then there's a Gel Res X, the newer model. And I have a pretty narrow foot. And the Gel Res typically is a slightly like heavier shoe, but supportive.
Sure. Yeah.
But I felt it was too bulky and just moving around, it was actually slowing me down, but I just felt on the side, like where my midfoot was, it was too thick and I wanted something a bit more snug. And still, I wasn't a huge fan of like how the toe box was still like kind of cutting in at the top. I don't know. I was a little disappointed. I was open to trying some other ASICS shoes, but I did ask some other people and they loved the stability part of the Gel Res and I was just really trying to like it, but it just wasn't a fit. So I went back threw it way back to Nike, which I haven't touched a Nike shoe in quite some time. That was my shoe I wore in juniors and college. The old Nike Zoom Vapor.
Yeah.
I forgot what it was called, but
Probably
now
the 9, because everyone loves the 9.
Yes, yes. I think that was like the classic one, and the one I'm using now is the Nike Zoom Vapor Pro.
Yes.
I believe that's
and
the
I
one.
think we're on 3 at this point. Which
Yeah.
is so which is also super confusing. But I think that makes sense and is a good, especially narrow feet, something light and quick, still supportive, stable. Yeah, you can do all the things on that shoe.
Yeah, no, I really like it. And, I haven't, knock on wood, have had an issue. And feet are so important. And throughout my career, I've had some like foot things. So I'm really picky how it feels. And I want a shoe that I trust. And, so far it's been a really good fit. And like I said, I have such a narrow foot. So it's just like, it really keeps me in and it's snug and I'm flying around the court.
Nice. Love it. And what about, okay, you've always been a Yonex girly. What are you working with on racket and strings?
I've tried so much throughout the years and I'm just like never satisfied. But I've been with Yonex for quite some time now. Initially I was with the V Core and then they changed that a little bit. So I switched to the E Zone about like maybe 5-ish years ago, 4 or 5 years ago. I don't know, can't keep up anymore.
I know.
And I was always with 100 square inch frame for the past 10 years. So I guess there's a thing going on. I'm just changing things after 10 years. And now this off season, I've had some time to experiment a little bit and I've been working with a 98 square inch frame,
Nice.
which I feel like is more rare to go from a larger head size to a smaller one. But I like to generate my power. Like take pretty much full swings. And at times I feel the 100, it's great with that initial pop, but sometimes the control aspect, I've played around with weights, strings, but I haven't been able to like perfect it. And right now I feel like the 98's a little bit more solid at contact. And I feel like I have control on the ball that's not going to fly or just go crazy, that it just feels firmer. And I feel like I've learned that I think I like that firmness in a racket. It's just a little bit heavier. Like you have to kind of produce a little bit more on your own. So I'm kind of working on that and playing around with changing my tension and, strings, and maybe I'll experiment with the weight. But I mean, so far it's been good. I just need to test it more out in points and in like an uncontrolled situation. But I actually think this might be it.
I like that. That's awesome. I'm a big fan of 98 square inch rackets, so that totally resonates. And are you stringing with Polytour Pro, or what string do you use?
I'm using the Rev.
Okay.
I've been back and forth. Honestly, this year is back and forth between like one tournament, I'm like, let's go Polytour Pro. And next I'm like, no, I want to go Rev. Also the balls are always different, the surfaces. So I just sometimes I'm like, I feel like I need a new racket for each week.
Right.
But trying to keep it simple. So right now sticking with the Polytour Rev.
Okay.
The orange color string.
Nice. Yeah. Any other equipment that we need to know about? You already talked about your sunglasses, which we know.
Currently not sponsored by an apparel company besides repping T-Dub.
Actually, maybe you can just talk a little bit about how hard that is, just, the sponsorship side of things, especially now. We're in a weird moment with tennis apparel.
Yeah, I was so fortunate to be with Fila for 8 years and, would love to work with them again. But just after COVID, a lot of companies just really cut back and they're going more in the influencer space. So a lot of following, different audience, like tennis is cool and fun, but it's like less performance based. And, my ranking has dropped a lot. I know I'm 30. I mean, I have like 6,000 something followers on Instagram. So I'm not like having like 50,000 followers, but I mean, content's
you never know when you can go viral.
maybe after this I will.
Yeah.
But it's just hard because I feel like they kind of just judge you on those numbers, a lot of the companies, and if you don't meet those standards, they're like, well, we don't have even product to give to you, and it's difficult, and there's just not a whole lot of brands out there that do a great like elite performance based product. Like tennis is so niche. Like it's not the same as golf and, doing like a hot Pilates workout. Like you want things to be light, but not too bouncy and like fit right and, not real, like you be able to like, absorb the sweat and everything. So it's hard and companies aren't giving product. I'm just looking for free product right now. And it's hard and it's expensive and I don't really want to buy my clothes. So
no, I get it. It's tough out there. Anyone listening that knows an in with anyone looking for sponsors or for players on the women's side. That's the other thing is we've seen like an explosion of brands in this space also. So all of a sudden it's not just Nike, Adidas. Now, even like Mizuno's making apparel on the US side. So everyone, Yona, like every single person and then some is making tennis apparel. But like you mentioned, there's some brands that are so influencer driven and it's like, it's interesting. I'm kind of just watching from my perspective, but yeah. So anyone listening that maybe has an up and coming brand or thinks that Jamie might be a good fit, especially what about Hello New York? There's got to be some fashion brands coming out with some apparel.
I know. And like, a lot of times I'll be on social media and I'll be like looking through brands or just I'm targeted with ads and stuff. I'm like, ooh, and I'll look, I have no problem messaging. And I do a lot of times like it's hit or miss if you hear back or if they can actually, if they have a practice clothesline, if they have match line, do they have wristbands, like socks, like all these things that's like the whole package.
Yeah.
And it's hard because it's like either they do one or the other, or it's like athleisure or like loungewear, but like what about a cute skirt and a tank top? I know.
Laura, are you sponsoring anyone?
But like it's just I don't know. Like maybe I'll find something in New York. I mean, or I would love to help a brand design.
There you go. Line. Yeah, you've got a great perspective. You've been around it for a long time, so that would be awesome. Well, where can people follow you and keep up with you, and what kind of content can they expect?
So I'm probably most active on Instagram, jloeb308, Instagram, TikTok, X, and it's a little bit of everything. Like honestly, everything we talked about is just on, off court, my own hot takes, my training, who I am as a person. That's been the biggest thing during this time. Is just like, just who is Jamie and who Jamie is a person, and taking away the tennis player side of things and just like, leaning into that part. And I showcase a lot. I'm gluten free, so I post a lot of like gluten free snack reviews. I need to really take off with that, but there's so many things like food. I love to dance, play tennis, work out, family, just a bit of everything. So and I'm pretty active on it. And yeah, I would say I'm like entertaining.
Awesome. Yeah, and I think like this year has taught you so much, I'm sure, but it's so relatable because as humans, we all are going through different ups and downs. And I think obviously this is like, it sucks, like losing someone so close to you and like so important to you. But I'm sure so many people out there that follow you are like, shoot, I know exactly what that feels like. And it connects people. So I think it's always amazing when you share like these personal and, like, stories.
That's what I've felt during this time. Like I've gotten a lot of outreach of people that have gone through similar experiences losing a parent at a young age. And that's helped me a lot. That's helped a lot in my healing process, and just people like reaching out because they care and they can understand. And like that's the good side of social media. There's obviously a not so good side to social media, but like that, like, wow, like this is awesome. It's awesome. I'm able to reach a certain audience, and people are able to reach me and connect. It's all about the connection. And that's why I remind myself too in this journey. It's just, the people, the relationships that I need and develop over the time, like it's really special. And it's like, I try to hold on to that and lean into it. And I just try to share my story and, help others, and it's in ways an outlet for me. But it's been really nice to kind of get that support as well, and to just, show people like it's not always great, and like I'm not always happy. I post a lot of my happy moments on there, but it's hard and everyone also processes processes things differently.
Yep.
I think I saw Sabalenka when she lost her dad. Like she just wanted to play and just that was her motivation to play right away. And I thought about that a lot. I was like, well, should I just go back out there?
Mm-hmm.
But my mind and body, I could not physically go on a tennis court. I didn't practice for myself for I think almost 4 months. I was helping others, but I was like, I can't. I'm not ready. And this hits too close to home. Tennis is something I shared so deeply with my dad, and just knowing everyone's path is different, and go on your own path, and that's all you need to do.
Amazing. Yeah. Well, we're wishing you all the best for 2026. I appreciate you taking this time to chat with us. We're going to put all of your socials so people can follow you. And you've been amazing today. So I appreciate it. I'm so excited for the next chapter, the next Jamie Loeb 2026. It's going to be an awesome year. You're going to have an amazing time. You're going to be stronger than ever. And it's okay to be weak too. And it's just going to be a great journey.
Yeah. Thanks, Michelle.
Yes, yay. Okay. And for everyone listening, let us know what hot takes you want Jamie to talk about, and we'll bring her back for another episode and do all kinds of hot takes. Let us know what you want to know about the tour and all of that. So thanks for listening, everyone, and happy hitting.